Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, an all-star pundit panel with Abney, Daela, Gibson, and Reedy for the whole show on all new Nevada Newsmakers. 40 years ago, Hotel California and the theme from Rocky were #1 on the pop charts, and D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal started on the road to becoming Nevada's leading roofing company.
I couldn't be more proud of what we've achieved.
And over these 40 years, we've become an employee-owned company. So when you're talking to any employee, you're talking to an owner.
And here's to the next 40 years.
Happy 40th birthday, D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal.
Nearly 200,000 Nevadans work in retail businesses, supporting families and the community. Nevada's retail businesses generated over $2 billion in sales tax revenue in 1 year, including nearly $700 million to help our schools. Shop around and see all that Nevada's retailers offer our state.
We're the Retail Association of Nevada, representing thousands of Nevada businesses.
Businesses that work for Nevada.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Truck drivers are some of the hardest working people you'll meet, delivering over 70% of America's freight and 92% of Nevada's. When there's a natural disaster, they're delivering critical supplies to help those communities recover and rebuild. Every sector of the economy and our nation's military rely on truck drivers. So let's take a moment to say thank you. On the open road or city streets, our truck drivers are rolling to make our economy and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, still dealing with post-election discussions here, and we have an all-pundit show today. Abney is here, managing partner with Abney Tauchen Group. Daela Gibson is with Planned Parenthood, and Reedy is executive director for NAMI, and also former chief of staff to Governor Gibbons. Pleasure to have you all here.
Thank you.
Robin, as I leave here, I'm going to go talk to the Republican Men's Club of Washoe County, and they want advice on what happened with the election and where they should be going. What would you say to them?
Oh, goodness, and not get in trouble? I would say,
please get in trouble.
Yeah, I bet. I would say you just need to pay attention to what's important to the public, and I don't know that the Republican Party is. I think a lot of the social issues just need to go away.
But those are some of the most important things to Republicans.
Actually, I don't know that they are. They are important to a lot of Republicans, but not all Republicans. And clearly, you have to win more than a primary.
Trey, your thoughts on that?
Well, this is a purple state becoming bluer, right? You automatically.
I'm glad to hear you still say it's a purple state, because I feel the same way.
The Republicans automatically start with a 75,000 voter reg disadvantage. So not only do they have to overcome that, but I'm not sure the message that California is going to invade us is really a winning message anymore.
I thought that was the stupidest message ever.
When you have all these Californians moving here, Washoe County Republicans are not Douglas County or Esmeralda County or Elko County Republicans, right? Mm-hmm. And Clark County, you almost have more. Pretty soon you're going to have more independents than you do Republicans registered in Clark County. So it's a messaging issue, and it's a pocketbook and family issue that they have to talk to people about, and not this California stuff. Taxes didn't work, unfortunately, because I think that is helping the economy, but they're going to have to change the message. And, Brian Sandoval, I know there's a lot of base of the party that doesn't like him anymore, but he, 70-something% approval rating. We're going to have more candidates in that mold than others, I think.
It used to be you would look at candidates and you would not only look at the primary, but you would look at who is electable in a general. And you may have 48% going D, you may have 48% going R, but you've got that 4% that's the deciding factor. And that 4%, I think, has become even more important. And the Republicans are not addressing in any way that 4%.
Well, but the irony of that is that all the money that is spent in the remaining weeks of an election cycle is directed at that small percentage.
Clearly not
who
on
have-
the R side.
People who have not made their minds up. How did you feel on election night?
Very good. And to speak to your question, though, it's much like Robin said, Republicans need to drop some of the things that they keep pushing. And it's much like Trey said as well, looking at Governor Sandoval, he is an excellent blueprint for, no pun intended, for how Republicans can be successful. He is pro-choice, he is pro-healthcare, and he didn't draw a substantial opponent in his last election, and I felt that he helped pave the way for other elected Republicans to do the same this time, and they chose to ignore that message, and to their own detriment.
Well, and I think one of the other things that we should discuss here is that Republicans are not pushing forward on what were traditionally Republican messages, which is low taxes, low debt. I mean, you look at the debt that's come out of this tax plan that the president promoted. Yes, it's great for businesses. Yes, it's great for people who have money. But what's it doing for the Republican Party's message of fiscal conservancy, Trey?
Well,
But low
Hang on.
taxes.
We'll let Trey
no,
answer,
I
and then
mean,
you can jump in.
you're absolutely right. Low taxes work. I mean, the deficit, we have a deficit because we have a spending problem, not because we have a revenue problem. You know, you cut taxes, we take in more tax revenue. It worked under JFK, it's worked under Reagan, it'll work now. So you're taking in more revenue because more people are working and more people are paying taxes. But the problem is we keep spending more than we take in all the time, and Republicans do it almost worse than Democrats do. And we've got a bigger deficit under Trump than we did under Obama, and so they're always willing to cut back taxes, but they're never willing to cut back the spending, and that even includes, you know, mandatory spending like Social Security, Medicare, not cutting it back, but figuring out how to reform it so it lasts.
Robin?
Low taxes is not a platform. You can talk about minimal government, you can talk about programs that work and don't work, but strictly looking at taxes as a platform is just too narrow.
Is minimal government even possible at this point in time when you look at the percentage of the population that's employed by the government?
I do think it's still, you know, minimal is relative to the time and place, but it's still trying to have the smallest form of government with the most effective program so you're not wasting our money.
That's a great slogan, but where's the practicality of that?
Practicality in which issue?
Well, in the sense that you have so many people employed by the government. You know, are you going to create whole new industries for all these people that are working in government that you are going to displace because you're going to have smaller government?
Again, the economy is kind of a living thing. So there's always going to be movement from private to government, in nonprofit, you know, all of that's going to move.
When was the last time it went to private instead of to government? I mean, it seems like the government has been growing for decades.
Not in Nevada.
But it's still growing to an extent.
Very, very minimally, especially relative to our population growth.
Daela?
Sort of talking about the tax issue with, you know, I feel that while it's not necessarily a revenue problem, it is when you cut the people who can pay the most in taxes. You take them out of that equation and you're trying to get more money out of the middle class. I think that's a huge problem. And there is a bigger deficit under this new tax cut. And it's interesting to talk to people because my family actually is involved with tax preparation. They've done enrolled agents for decades. And they are amazed that people don't understand how detrimental the new tax plan has been to middle class people and who it's really hurting, and how that was not really taken into consideration at all when it was being pushed through.
But I think that people also don't understand that the rich have lots of tax accountants to figure out how they will pay the most minimal amounts of taxes. The money is in the middle class. It's not in the poor, but it's in the middle class. And
depending. I mean, depending, you can definitely say that, but you can also shore up different loopholes. And yes, you're always going to have people. Of course, we want people to protect their own best interests. We understand that, but still, when you're lowering those tax levels for the people who can pay it the easiest, or won't affect them as much, $100 to somebody who's in the top 1% is much different than $100 to somebody who's not. And I think that while nobody wants higher taxes. Nobody is really saying, yay, we get to raise taxes. I'm so excited. That's not it at all. But we do need to fund things. And sometimes, while people might argue that, oh, we need smaller government, sometimes it's only the government that can provide certain services. And we all want to have that wealthy uncle that can help us out when times are tough. And sometimes it's not, and that uncle is Uncle Sam. And that's not necessarily a detriment, but people don't want to look at the pros and cons, I don't think, very evenly.
How do you respond, Robin?
I just want the programs to be effective at
Absolutely.
that point. I've never been this anti-tax person, because again, I just think that's too narrow. You need to, and I've been out there actually cutting departments and eliminating programs that don't work. You can analyze it and make those decisions. But there is a group of people out there that will always need a certain amount of help. And whether it's nonprofits or governments, they need to be able to help those people. So I agree. But that's also why I don't want to just say, oh, low taxes, that's our mantra. No,
Right.
Minimal government and effective programs.
With Washington, D.C. the way it is, do you see minimal government on the horizon?
No, I mean, well, we're going to have minimal things done in Congress coming up with a split Congress. You're going to see judges confirmed, and you're going to see a bunch of continuing resolutions, although Republicans are not shy about increasing. So you'll see continuing resolutions to fund the government, adding 5 or 10% to it each time, I'm sure, because nobody in congressional leadership on either side in either house or this president seems to care about reducing any kind of spending
But
whatsoever.
Paul Ryan said just in a recent interview that Congress passed 1,000 bills in the last session, but got no promotion or publicity for that because it wasn't sexy.
Well, I mean, that's probably true, but government did not get reduced in any of those bills. We're not spending any less money because of those bills. So, I mean, there are things going on all the time. But did government get more efficient? No, at the federal level. I mean, I think Robin's right. At the state level, there was a lot of cuts during the recession. So you've seen less government here, growing now again. But at the federal level, you're not going to see those changes. I would just say on the tax policy, you've got 50% of the population that doesn't pay any taxes at all. So really, the only places to cut taxes are the people that actually are paying it. Top 1% is paying like 50% of the taxes. So if you're going to cut taxes, that's where the cuts are going to come from, is people that actually pay it. And so, I mean, we need to talk about that and, how fair that is as well. So, I mean, it's all difficult, and it's the system, needs to be blown up and start over, but we won't do that either.
And that's not going to happen.
Nope.
Let's take a break. More with our pundits after this.
Tamarack Junction is South Reno's hotspot with over 450 of the latest slots and video games. Sully Sports Bar, the Dining Car Restaurant, William Hill Sportsbook, and the Tamarack Steakhouse and Lounge. We're just north of the Summit Mall in South Virginia.
Yeah. How do you shed some light on a better economy? Start with growth inspired by Valley Electric Association. We're a member-owned power company that puts Nevada first, and we're doing big things, like providing prosperity by securing renewable energy projects. For Nevada, that means more jobs and more opportunities, all for a strong statewide economy. In other words, together, we're doing powerful things. Visit us at vea.coop to learn more.
Hi, I'm Eric Robnett, owner of Home Energy Experts. Has this ever happened to you?
Honey, did you remember to turn down the thermostat?
Forgetting to set the temperature? Not fun. We can help. Our new smart thermostat keeps the temperature set for your comfort all by itself.
I'm feeling hot now.
To increase your comfort, go to homeenergyexperts.com for details. That's homeenergyexperts.com.
The signs and symptoms of cataracts can start out small with subtle changes in your vision. So don't wait. Be proactive and take your vision into your own hands. If you're experiencing the onset of cataracts or just have questions, contact your eye care professional or call Eye Care Associates of Nevada today. Dr. Hiss has years of experience specializing in the surgical correction of eye disorders and has completed over 84,000 vision correcting procedures. At Eye Care Associates of Nevada, we'll change the way you look at the world.
The Tamarack Junction Steakhouse is known for signature steaks, handcrafted cocktails, and world-class wines. Join us Thursdays and Friday nights from 4:30 to 6:30 in the Steakhouse Lounge for live music, gourmet plates, and well-priced wines, just north of the Summit Mall on South Virginia.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And we have a great pundit panel here discussing post-election topics. Trey Abney, Daela Gibson, and Robin Reedy. So Daela, it's going to be interesting now with a supermajority in one house, a lot of Democrats in the other house, a Democratic governor, but a Democratic governor who, maybe leans a little bit more conservatively, maybe a blue dog Democrat as governor. What's the fight going to be in the legislative session?
I honestly don't know what it's going to be. It's something that I've tried to toy around with a little bit in my mind myself, because we had a rather successful legislative session in 2017. We had a lot of progress made, and that was with Republican governor. So I don't know, the fight might be a little bit more with labor. It might be shoring up healthcare protections, depending on what's happening on the federal government with cuts and reductions to the strength of the ACA. It'll be an interesting session going in. I'm not sure exactly what it's going to look like.
Kelvin Atkinson made some comments, I believe in the Nevada Independent, but it could have been the Las Vegas Review-Journal, talking about not wanting to blow up too many things because that would not work going into this legislative session, reining in the more liberal sides of his caucus. What are your thoughts on that, Trey?
And that's exactly, the fight is not going to be the small amount of Republicans versus the Democrats. It's going to be Democrat on Democrat, right? And I mean, it's similar to the U.S. House, and what Nancy Pelosi's having to deal with is you have a lot of, really passionate people way to the far left of her caucus, and then you've got the more establishment folks that actually want to govern and do something, and how do you do that? And so I think Speaker Fryerson's going to have an interesting job trying to, all these new folks coming in the caucus, and they're passionate, and they maybe are more interested in national policies and national ideas and national excitements, if you will, and they're saying, and his job and Senator Atkinson's job and the governor's job is going to be, look, we're on a good glide path here. Governor Sandoval and previous legislatures have set us up for success. How can we maintain that without starting to blow up the world? Now, you have 41 vetoes from last session that Governor Sandoval issued. I asked for 7 of them, when the Reno Sparks Chamber did when I was with that organization. So you're going to see those come back. You're going to, and that includes some minimum wage stuff, some paid sick leave. Stuff and some other labor union stuff. I know folks are concerned about construction defect. So I think you'll see at least some attempts there, but you're right. This Governor-elect Sisolak, is not a knee-jerk left-wing guy. Okay, he's a pretty moderate, thoughtful guy. He doesn't want to blow up the world. He doesn't want to kill the golden goose or whatever, whatever cliche you want to use. And so, and neither is Speaker Frierson. And Senator Atkinson is a business owner now, owns the Urban Lounge down in Las Vegas. And so he gets it as well. So these folks aren't going to, I mean, there's going to be stuff that Republicans and conservatives don't like. I'm not naive about that. And it's going to be a difficult session, I think, for some people and a little bit for the business community, but it's not going to be crazy, I'll put it that way.
Do you want to add some stuff to this, Daela? Because you were kind of nodding a lot in agreement
here.
with...
No, I definitely agree. I think it's a great point of...
This is agreement across the aisle right here on Newsmakers.
It is a very good point about reining people in, because you definitely have people... I really thought that the analogy was really apt about what they're seeing on the federal level with the House, and because everybody campaigns on changing things, and change isn't always what's necessary. And some people might have some great ideas that might be just a little bit too much for appetites.
So the worst thing that can happen is overplaying your hand, at this point, and
that would be like Senator Reedy trying to get the Affordable Care Act passed.
Yeah, like that.
I also wanted to ask you, Robin, about something that a lot of people don't know, but Governor Sandoval is the one that's going to essentially write the budget for the next session, correct?
Yeah, you know, I've been asked about that recently as well, and I will tell you, I'm sure Governor-elect has a team that's trying to work on that budget to make it his own.
As we are taping this, no chief of staff has yet been named.
Well, you don't necessarily have to have it, you know, the transition team, you know, if they're doing their job and the incumbent governor is doing his job, they have already met together. They have worked out who's going to talk to who, what offices they can use to provide for the sustainability of our government. That's the proper thing to do. And someone needs to be sitting and looking at that budget and recognizing where you can make change, and hopefully that someone is knowledgeable.
Okay, let's take a break. We'll come back more on this after this timeout.
Dimitri Prine here for Design Outdoor. Come visit Design Outdoor's store and backyard to see our wide selection of fire pits, barbecues, and pizza ovens, natural stone water features and fountains, and frost-proof pottery. Our store and backyard are located at 11600 South Virginia, just north of DeMonte Ranch Parkway. Visit designoutdoor.com or call us at 851-9499.
Hey guys, are you watching the game at a friend's or the bar again because you can't watch at home with your wife? Or worse, because she kicked you out and kept your couch, your flat screen, and your kids? What's the one thing a man needs when he loses a good woman? A good lawyer. And when he loses a bad woman, he needs a great lawyer. What makes a good woman a bad woman? You tell me. You're the one that can't watch the game in your own home. I'm men's rights attorney Marilyn York, and I represent men in divorce, custody, and family law matters.
Hi, I'm Dave Newman. Remember me? I used to be the house detective, and now I'm a realtor, full-time at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates. And a lot of people ask me, how's the market? You know what? It's fantastic. If you're even kicking around the idea of buying or selling, give me a call. Let's talk about it. Call me at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates and just ask for the guy who used to be the house detective, Dave Newman.
Everyone is talking about opioids, but they're not the only drugs that can be harmful if taken in large quantities or not as prescribed. You also need to be aware of side effects from anxiety drugs, muscle relaxants, sleep aids, and stimulants. Mixing prescription drugs with other drugs or alcohol can be dangerous. If you take an Ambien with a glass of wine, it may be enough to stop you from breathing. Prescribed drugs can be just as dangerous as illegal drugs. Take medications only as directed.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on our All Pundits show with Robin Reedy, Daela Gibson, and Trey Abney. Robin, you know, the thing that's been amazing has been that the fundraising efforts have not ceased at all. I mean, every day, the emails, the phone calls, does this not blow you away?
Well, and the technology that they're using. I mean, I've gotten texts from Gingrich. I mean, name someone and they probably put their name on a text that's come to my phone. Not necessarily that they've been successful, but the outreach that they're doing. But no, it hasn't stopped.
Well, and you have to remember, I mean, they probably left everything out in the field. This was a very close race on both sides, so if there's people that still have money left, shame on them. Right, and so they need to raise more money quickly. And in this state, you know, you can't raise 30 days before session begins and 30 days after. So come January 1, they have to stop all that, or around January 1. And so they're in a, you know, of course, the holiday time is probably the hardest time to get money for politicians anyway.
Nonprofits.
Right. Well, that's right. And so they're going to have to really build up their coffers for the next time, and because this was a. Because we can't forget, this governor now will be around when redistricting happens in 2021. Yes. Mm-hmm. And so that makes the 2020 elections even more important if Republicans want to make some inroads so they can have some say over those lines that are going to determine politics for the next 10 years in this state. So yeah, I'm assuming everybody emptied out their coffers and now they're trying to get a little bit in before the blackout period starts in January.
I guess the thing that frustrates me is the number of emails that come out and are directed at poor people, because they say, send $1, send $5, send $10. Those are not sent to Sheldon Adelson or any other rich donors. They are sent to people who have no money, but who believe that when they get an email from Nancy Pelosi or Mitch McConnell, it's actually coming from them directly to them. And that just seems to me to be inherently wrong.
I've had a lot of frustration actually with the guilting emails. You know, you haven't donated anything and we're going to lose, that sort of email. And it's been a fight that I have decided to wage and unsubscribe and try and rally people to understand that that's not fair. You know, you don't know everybody's individual positions. You don't understand what's going on in their lives. And I agree that I think some of the tactics are a little underhanded and not fair.
Well, the world's coming to an end, right? I mean, that's the issue. I mean, they're just so over the top with it. But on the federal level, when they get a lot of those type of even $1 donations, it allows them to say, see, look at all the regular Nevadans that gave to me and not the Sheldon Addison.
I would love to get one asking for only $5 or $1.
I'll forward you all my emails. That's where we got to leave it. Thank you, guys. Great panel. We'll be right back.
A bird's eye captures its surroundings at different heights. At Brian Culpa Photography, we can make your imagination soar over buildings, parks, cityscapes, and beyond. Brian's images tell the story and get the job done. If you need a new perspective to tell your story, contact Brian today. Brian Culpa Photography. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Hi, my name's Marilyn Miner, and I'm sure you'd agree that Nevada's a very special place to live. I was born here, and my husband and I have raised our family here. I feel it's a privilege to live and work in the Truckee Meadows. I especially enjoy helping my clients reach their real estate goals. Sometimes the smallest details provide the greatest satisfaction. I'd be complimented to talk to you about your next move.
Call Marilyn Miner at Dixon Realty, 742-1280, or log on to marilynminer.com.
St. Ives Florist, for every holiday and every special occasion, for romance. Custom home design. We have the largest selection of fresh flowers in northern Nevada, and we also offer a large selection of unique gift items. Come see me, Lori Ann, at St. Ives Florist, 700 South Wells Avenue, or call me at 333-9190.
Take a look at Pro Group Management and see how your workers' comp requirements can be met head-on. By taking a proactive approach, Pro Group can assure that your company is meeting or exceeding state and federal standards. As you move forward in your industry, Pro Group moves with you, simplifying regulatory tasks, clearing the way so you can get the job done and look to your future success. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
40 years ago, Hotel California and the theme from Rocky were #1 on the pop charts, and D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal started on the road to becoming Nevada's leading roofing company.
I couldn't be more proud of what we've achieved.
And over these 40 years, we've become an employee-owned company. So when you're talking to any employee, you're talking to an owner.
And here's to the next 40 years.
Happy 40th birthday, D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal.
As always, you can watch Nevada Newsmakers 24 hours a day at nevadanewsmakers.com. You can also download podcasts of the show free of charge from iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you on the next broadcast.